Every time you buy gas with a credit card, something strange happens. The bank that processed your payment makes about 8 cents on every gallon. The person who owns the station? On a lot of days, they make less than that. Less than the bank. Less than the swipe. Think about that. The owner bought the land, built the store, buried the tanks, took on millions in debt, and the machine that beeps when you tap your card walks away with more of the profit than they do. And yet, people still line up to pay $2 million for one of these places. Some of them get rich, really rich. Others lose everything. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. You'll know where the money actually hides. It's somewhere you've walked past 1,000 times. And you'll know about the thing buried under the concrete, the thing that can wipe an owner out with a single phone call. Let's start with what most people get wrong.
In a national survey, 45% of American drivers said they believe gas stations make at least $2 a profit on every gallon. $2. If that were true, an average station would clear about $3 million a year, just on fuel. Everyone in America would want one. Here's the truth. The markup on a gallon of gas, the difference between what the station pays and what you pay, has averaged around 38 cents over the last 5 years. That's before expenses. Now start subtracting. 6 to 8 cents just to truck the fuel from the terminal to the station, around 8 cents in card fees. Then labor, electricity, insurance, maintenance. By the time it's all paid, the owner keeps maybe 10 to 15 cents per gallon in a good year. In a bad year, 3 cents, 5 cents. Sometimes when oil prices spike, they actually lose money on every gallon they sell.
So when you hand over $50 at the pump and you feel like you just got robbed, the person behind the counter kept less than the coins in your cup holder. Almost everything else went to the oil company, the refinery, the distributor, the government, and the bank. The station isn't setting the price of gas, it's passing it through. Okay, so if fuel makes almost nothing, let's meet someone who bought in anyway. Call him Sam. Sam just spent $1.8 million on an existing station in a decent suburb. Where did that money go? About $700,000 for the land, a corner lot on a busy road. Most of the rest for the building, the canopy, and the equipment. The underground tanks alone are worth 6 figures installed. Each pump out front costs $15,000 to $25,000. Then inventory. Then enough cash to survive the first few months. And if Sam had built from scratch instead? A brand new station in America runs anywhere from $1.5 to over $4 million before selling a single gallon. So Sam is in, deep. Now let's watch him try to make money on fuel. Sam's station pumps about 120,000 gallons a month. At 38 cents of markup, that sounds like $45,000. Not bad, right? Except the delivery trucks take their cut, the card networks take theirs. Remember, over 80% of pump transactions are on plastic. Then payroll, because the lights never turn off. Keeping one register open around the clock takes more than 4 full-time employees. When the dust settles, Sam's fuel profit for the month is a few $1,000s on over $1 million of fuel sales. And it gets worse, because Sam is not alone on that corner. 72% of drivers pick a gas station based on one thing, the price on the sign. And 69% will drive 5 minutes out of their way to save 5 cents a gallon. 5 cents. That sign out front isn't decoration. It's the entire marketing department. Drop 3 cents below the competitor across the street and cars change lanes. Go 3 cents above and they vanish. Now add the final blow. A few miles away, there's a Costco. Warehouse clubs and big box stores sell gas at close to break even, on purpose. For them, cheap fuel is bait, a reason to renew your membership. They pump roughly double the volume of a normal station, and they don't need the fuel to make money at all. Sam can't win a price war against someone who isn't trying to profit. The wholesaler squeezes him from above, the bank skims him on every swipe. Costco pins him from across town. So how does anyone survive this? Simple. They stop thinking of it as a gas station. Here's the number that changes everything. Fuel brings in about 65% of the money at a typical station, but only around 39% of the profit. Read that again.
2/3 of the revenue, barely a third of the profit. The little store behind the pumps, the one you walk through to grab a drink, produces most of the profit on a fraction of the sales. Because the margins inside are a different universe. That coffee? 60–70% margin. The fountain soda? About the same. Hot food, the sandwiches, the pizza, the roller grill, 50 to 60%. Bottled drinks, candy, snacks, 40 to 50. Which means a $4 coffee can put more actual profit in Sam's pocket than a $50 tank of gas. One cup, one tank. The coffee wins. And it's not just food. Cigarettes bring in huge sales, but thin margins. They exist to pull people in. Lottery tickets pay the store a tiny commission. They're traffic bait, nothing more. But a car wash? 60% margins or better. And the smartest owners now sell car washes as monthly subscriptions. Steady money, every month, rain or shine. Roughly 60% of fuel customers walk inside the store. The whole game, the entire business, is converting the other 40. The pumps, the canopy, the $2 million of concrete and steel, all of it exists to make cars stop so people will walk through that door. Sam isn't running a fuel business with a shop attached. He's running a shop that uses gas as bait. The biggest winners in this industry figured that out years ago. Buc-ee's, Wawa, Sheetz, Quick Trip, Casey's, which, by the way, is now one of the largest pizza sellers in America. These aren't gas stations, they're food companies with pumps in the parking lot. They have kitchens, loyalty apps, car wash subscriptions. And because they're huge, they buy fuel cheaper than Sam ever could. Meanwhile, more than half of all fuel-selling stores in America are owned by someone with exactly one location. One. Same product as the giants, same price war, none of the leverage. That's why the results are so extreme. A single store owner like Sam typically takes home somewhere between $60,000 and $150,000 a year. A great corner with a strong store can hit $200,000 or $300,000. A weak one can fall below $50,000 on a $2 million investment. But Sam's biggest problem isn't the competitor across the street. It isn't Costco. It's directly under his feet. Every gas station sits on underground storage tanks, big steel or fiberglass containers buried in the ground, holding thousands of gallons of fuel. They last about 25 to 30 years, and a huge share of the tanks in America are at that age right now, or past it. Old tanks corrode, they crack, they leak. And when they leak, the fuel doesn't just sit there. It moves through the soil, down toward the groundwater. The same groundwater that roughly half of this country drinks. Right now, there are more than 57,000 leaking tank sites across the United States, still waiting to be cleaned up. The average cleanup costs about $154,000. If the leak reaches drinking water, it can run past $1 million. And here's the part that should terrify anyone shopping for a gas station. Under federal law, the person responsible for the cleanup is whoever controls the property when the leak is found. Not the previous owner, not the oil company, not the tank manufacturer. You. The moment the deed transfers, so does the liability, even for a leak that started years before you showed up. And a slow leak, deep underground, you'd never see it from the street. This is why smart buyers spend $15,000 to $25,000 on environmental testing before they sign anything. Soil samples, site assessments. It sounds expensive. It's the cheapest insurance in the entire deal. Because the alternative is a six-figure surprise.
2 years after closing. Now, there's one more layer to this business, and almost nobody talks about it. Look at where gas stations sit. Hard corners, busy intersections, high-traffic roads. Some of the best small commercial real estate in America. The big oil companies figured this out long ago and quietly sold off their stations. Today, there are real estate investment funds, even a publicly traded company, that exist for one purpose: buying the land under gas stations and collecting rent. When 7-Eleven paid $21 billion for around 3,900 Speedway stores, the biggest deal in the industry's history, they weren't buying fuel margins. They were buying corners, locations, foot traffic. And plenty of family owners have run break-even pump businesses for 30 years, only to discover that the dirt underneath quietly made them millionaires. The land tripled while the gas made pennies. That's the secret third business. Fuel is the bait, the store is the profit, and the land is the wealth. Owners who hold the deed have two ways to win. Owners who lease have none. Which brings us to the future. Electric vehicles are now more than 1 in 10 new cars sold in America, and climbing. One major analysis projects that up to a quarter of US fuel stations could become unprofitable by 2035 as gasoline demand fades. The product this entire business is named after is slowly melting. But here's the twist. An EV driver doesn't stop for 3 minutes. They stop for 20 or 30, and they walk inside far more often and spend more when they do. For a business where the store makes the money and the fuel just makes cars stop, that's not a death sentence. That might be an upgrade. The catch is capital. Chargers are expensive, and only about half of American drivers can charge at home. Someone is going to capture that traffic. It'll be the owners who can afford to. Even the industry's own trade group now tells operators flat out, the future of this business is inside the store, not at the pump. So, would you buy one? Here's what Sam learned the hard way, and what separates the winners from everyone else. Buy the corner. Own the land, because that's where the wealth compounds. Build the store. Food, coffee, car wash, loyalty, that's where the profit lives. Treat fuel as marketing. It's the sign that makes cars stop, nothing more. And never, ever sign a deal without testing the soil. Because a gas station isn't a fuel business, it's a real estate business with a restaurant inside and a chemistry experiment underneath. The owners who understand that are getting rich on the exact same corners where everyone else goes broke. The pumps get the attention, the coffee pays the bills, the land builds the fortune, and the tanks below, they're just waiting to see if you did your homework. So, would you put $2 million on a business the whole country is slowly driving away from? Tell me in the comments.